it's going to make you better. It's going to make you a better player.
No, you know what it does? It makes you more susceptible to injury for free. If I'm going to get hurt, I need to be getting paid while I'm getting hurt. If I'm a rehab, I need to be getting paid while I'm rehab. Just like Jabari Parker right now, guess what he'd be doing right now if he was at Duke with that ACL injury? Yeah, mad about not making money. You remember Deion Glover?
Right.
Remember how cold Deion Glover was?
Yeah, definitely.
What happened to him? Yeah, that knee injury hit him.
Injury.
Yeah. That he couldn't make it in the NBA. Yeah, see, you got to get it while you can get it. This is America. Like, why is anybody?
I get it.
Why is anybody having such a problem comprehending that? And the fact that you're saying that, because I don't know the players, it doesn't make me want to watch. You know what doesn't make you want to watch college basketball? The regular season means nothing. You have 80-something million teams in the tournament. So when people say, "Oh, it's Carolina Duke," it means nothing. That means nothing. Though that rivalry is so overstated because it's never for anything. Like they just played again. Like I didn't even realize it.
Right.
They just played again in a 1-point game, and I looked at my tab, was like, "Oh, junk." They played again, and then they'll play again maybe in the ACC tournament. One time a year it may be for the championship. If both of them make it to the ACC championship. But as far as rivalries go, it's like who cares? One team will win or one team will lose. If Duke wins, they don't get a. If Duke loses, they might not get the number one seed when it comes tournament time. Oh. Everyone's shuddering. Yeah, the last time 4 teams made it to 4 number one seeds made it to the finals was in ever under the new format.
Right.
So obviously it doesn't mean that much. Like last year, what was Kentucky last year? 8? Something crazy like that? Yeah. Come on, it means nothing. Give me as many talent. Like that's why as many times as I hear somebody trying to hate on Coach Calipari, I love it. I love every last minute of it because he's doing exactly what I would do. Get as many talented people as you can find. And that's in any business. That's what you want. You want to get as many talented people as you can find and then figure it out later. Because the one thing you can't you can't teach nobody talent.
But I'm just saying, Mike, and again, the reason that, and this is the Sports Kings podcast on Spreaker.com, the reason that, what I'm saying, Mike, is that you remember, dude, when we were growing up, we saw some great basketball, not teams, but programs. We saw some great programs.
But you know what I think happens?
New programs that win those championships. We saw UNLV that won a championship and then lost the next year. We saw that Georgia Tech leaked away the 3. I mean, we saw some really good teams, and I mean, that's my whole thing, man.
But just anything, as time passes, the things of our past get greater and greater. Is what I'm always talking about when we talk about, how we romanticize things from the past. Like the other day, me and you talking about Dominique Wilkins, right? On the 5th, Dominique will have a statue erected outside of Phillips Arena down here in Atlanta.
It's Neat Week. Neat Week.
Okay, see, that's the other thing.
Neat Week.
Everything has to have a catchy phrase to it. It's Teague time.
Neat Week.
It's the Blitz Grits. It's, Prime. It's all this craziness.
Neat Week.
You took it, I understand you took it as me saying that Dominique Wilkins doesn't deserve a statue. I don't know what anybody deserves anything. I mean, in college football, everyone gets a statue. So as far as, I don't know about deserving or whatever, but what I do know is the NBA inadvertently maybe has set a certain standard for people who have statues. And that was my point. And Dominique doesn't really fit that category. Like, the dudes who have statues either have, championships out the ass and or the greatest all time at something. Like John Stockton, the greatest assist man of all time in the NBA. Right? You got a statue.
Right.
Other dudes got championships. Those things, balance out. Like Dominique, in the grand scheme of things, he was a great hawk. When you want to stack it up with the rest of the guys, that's all he was. He was a great hawk.
Okay. Now, what you got to think? You got to think like this, man. First of all, and I liked Dominique when he played for the Hawks. I mean, I was a Dominique Wilkins fan back then. The thing you got to realize is that a couple things, man. Like, first of all, this is just a local tribute. You know what I'm saying? It's just a local tribute.
Is it really? It's a statue, dude. It's for everybody that comes into the stadium to see.
But I'm saying, but again, look.
Like, they're not giving him a plaque to take home and hang on his wall. This is a statue.
Right. But dude, what Dominique Wilkins meant to this Atlanta Hawks franchise is the equivalent of, because
Hold on
for
now.
a team that hasn't won.
Hold on now. What are you about to say? He's the equivalent of what? Magic?
I'm saying
Kareem?
No,
Jordan?
I'm saying look, man. Okay, he for the era. Let me just back up. For the era, you gotta think like this. There was a time and a place that a lot of young folks don't remember, where there was no basketball in Florida. There was no basketball in the Carolinas and Tennessee. The next closest basketball team you go get to was going to be in the state of Texas. Ted Turner had this great vision about the Superstation, Channel 17, where you can see his franchise, the Hawks and the Braves, worldwide, nationwide, whatever you want to call it. And so Dominique Wilkins basically was a household name across the country. So it's like, while the team didn't win any championships, Dominique did some phenomenal things. When he retired, he was top 10 all-time NBA scorer. And he put up, like I told you the other day, he did everything except for win the MVP and win a championship.
Like, those are
He
two
did
big things.
just about everything else that a player in his position could do. And I'm just saying, he is he is the Hawk. You know what I'm saying? He is the Hawk.
What does that? But at the end of the day, what does that mean? Like,
what I'm saying, look, Dominique cannot help that he played for the Atlanta Hawks, because look, if Nick had played on any of these other teams that were winning championships like back in the day, he would have a ring.
well, yeah,
Like,
sure. You say the same thing. You
if
say the same thing about Patrick Ewing. You say the same thing about Charles Barkley.
But I'm saying
Your circumstances are your circumstances. Dan Marino's circumstances are his circumstances.
Right. And Dan Marino is a Hall of Famer, just like Dominique. Dan Marino is the greatest Dolphin.
No. Back up. When Dan Marino retired, he's the most prolific passer in NFL history. That's way different than being top 10 in scoring.
But you know what I'm saying.
That's way different.
But he might have been all of that. But and Dominique was retired number 7 on the all-time list.
That's not best. That's not the best. That's 7.
But again,
see what you're talking about is like giving somebody a participation trophy. 7th is 7th.
Man.
The best is the best.
Dominique is an all-time great.
What was he the best at?
Here in Atlanta,
what was Dominique the best at when he retired? The best. That's what I'm asking you. What was he the best?
He wasn't the best at nothing when he retired.
That's my point.
He wasn't the best at nothing but I'm talking about when he was playing the game, dude. When he was playing the game.
No. He's being immortalized now. He's being immortalized now. So what we're talking about is everything encompassing everything. His entire career.
This all goes, but for his entire career, dude, Dominique is
he was the best dude on a bad team. That's what he was.
Those teams weren't bad, Mike. Those teams were winning 50 games every year.
So what's that? What's that? So you say he's the best dude on the average team? Does that make you feel better if I say average?
I'm saying they were above average, but you got to think in that era, you got to think they were playing the Boston. You had Boston that was still winning championship. You had Detroit, and then Chicago.
What does that mean?
And then in the Hawks' best moment to be able to compete for the championship, which was 21 years ago. When there was no Jordan playing, when the Hawks were in first place in the East. They decided to trade him for Danny Manning.
But what does any of that mean? At the end of the day, what does any of that mean in the broader scope of things? In the broader scope,
I'm just saying,
that's what I'm saying.
Forget
about being the greatest Hawk, because there's a greatest everything. There's a greatest Hornet. There's a greatest Nugget. But spanning out, zooming out.
If people want to honor their greatest, that's their prerogative. Like, I'm glad Dominique is having a statue outside. I'm glad. Because then I can tell my daughter about Dominique Wilkins. I'm glad. You
can do it now.
Because Dominique Wilkins he's not a great broadcaster, but Dominique Wilkins was an all-time great, man. Like, when you watch these videos on NBA TV, which I know nobody really watches.
I do.
But when you watch these,
I watch the NBA Classics.
But when you watch these things and they start talking about that era, Dominique Wilkins is always in the conversation because he was one of those dudes. It's not like now where you have 4 Atlanta Hawks on All-Star team. back in the day, every single team, and you know, Mike, every single team had they had their dudes. It's not like now. The NBA back then is not like it is now. Dominique dropped 30, averaged 30 a game. Back in that NBA, a more physical NBA.
I truly feel like it's a ploy. It's a ploy to sucker you guys in the way that they are, to pull on those emotional, to pull on those heartstrings.
Mike, you know that the game back then was much tougher.
What is that? But what does that mean? Like, what does that mean as it relates to the conversation that we're having? Like, things change, Grandpa.
I'm just saying that for what he did in that era, but
there was also no zone defenses. There were also no zone defense, so you can clear out a whole side and let a guy like Dominique, who had one hand, just go to work on a dude all game long. So things are different. Things are different.
Look, in 21 years, if they ain't found nobody that's better than Dominique, then that's their fault. And they just need to honor the man. He's the greatest Hawk. Bottom line. He's the greatest Hawk. If they want to put a statue out there, put a statue out there.
I think people just way too emotional about it. And I think that's all.
Well, nobody's emotional. I'm just saying,
well, of course you are. You just said yourself, you love Dominique. That's an emotion.
I'm saying, well, Dominique, look, dude, you let a Hawk, like a real Hawks fan tell it, everybody felt like Dominique got wrong anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the problem. That's the problem. That's why everything is being so placated to that notion that somebody was done wrong. A dude who's a leaper coming off of an Achilles injury. It's time to trade him.
Having the best season of his career.
Look, who wants to? I'm always talking about this, especially now during NFL free agency. I'm always talking about being the team left holding the hot potato. You don't want to be that team. You don't want to be that team that signs the running back up. That you're seeing it right now with the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're like, you know what, DeMarco? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and let you test this market, homeboy, because you know what you play? Running back in the NFL. So before we pony up and pay you all this money, go ahead and set the market. Come back to us. Let us know what the price is. We'll decide if we want to match it or not. But it's real talk. Like, no one wants to get caught with a dude who had 400 carries, just like Steven Jackson. You end up being the team holding the hot potato. So yeah, if you got an opportunity, like, you don't know the Danny Manning thing's not going to work out. You don't know that beforehand, but you make the deal. Cool. And it doesn't work out. So now everybody's like, oh, our favorite guy, Dominique. But at the same time, what had Dominique done to that point? Like, were you on your 4th championship in a row or something? Like, the people in Chicago, they got a right to be mad. You know, Jerry Krause let those dudes walk away when they still have more championships in them. Maybe you got a right to be mad. But here, come on, what really was happening? What was really happening to the point you want to say, man, you can't let Dominique go? He might bring us another dunk championship.
No, I'm saying, look, at the time, the Hawks were in first, just like right now. They were in first place in the Eastern Conference. You know, he was the second lead scorer in the league.
And what did we just say at the beginning of the podcast?
It was just one of those. It was just one of those things where, you know, it just felt like the Hawks were going to make that run, and then right in February, it's just like everything just came to a screeching halt. Then you bring in the dude that average 14 points a game for the rest of the season. 14 points.
Because you know that's going to happen when you make the deal.
Danny Manning was cursed since college, dude. Everybody knew that fool was cursed since. Man, look, he never worked out anywhere he went. He just got paid. That dude sucked.
Now it's a referendum on Danny Manning years later.
Danny Manning sucked, man. That's just real.
Yeah, now it's coming out.
This dude broke his leg doing a layup in college. Let's just be real.
Everybody hates Danny Manning now.
Danny Manning had the LeBron James hairline before he won the James. Let's just be real. Like, that was the worst trade. That was the worst trade in Atlantic history. The worst trade ever.
All right. We're going to wrap up the first hour of the Sports Kings podcast. It's been, I don't know if you guys have been entertained, but I surely have. You can hear this on Spreaker.com. Make sure you tell a friend. We're also on Twitter if you want to tweet us anything while you're listening to this at Sports Kings Live. We're also on Instagram at Sports Kings Live. And our email is sportskingshel@gmail.com. We'll be right back with hour number 2.